Hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Ezekiel the Barber back at you with another video. Forgot to press record, so we'll get right into it this time. Already took a few chunks out of this haircut. Basically this time I'm using a open clipper. That means that lever is wide open. For some reason, this isn't the equivalent to a 1. It's slightly under a 1, I believe. Now, normally they say that a open Andis master clipper is a 1. I'm not sure exactly what a open Wahl clipper is, but for some reason, I like how clean it comes out. This client basically likes to do a mid to high fade, and then once we get to the top, he likes to basically customize it. So that's what we'll basically be doing today. So I'm basically setting a nice clean guideline, and we'll basically do this all the way around. Now, if you get really clean guidelines the first time before you go to your next step, I mean, that's fine, but basically, I like to cut to a look, so I'll get it as clean as I can get it, then I'll go to the next step. Sometimes I'll just clean everything up in the end. It's pretty much on you. Every barber's different. Pretty much whatever you want to do, it's your art. Now, I like to just grab that ear. Don't have to grab it too hard, but just definitely keep it away from those blades. Keep that ear in safe position. Those blades are really sharp. And once again, I'm just using this Wahl clipper where that lever is all the way open, where it's all the way down, closer to the bottom of the clipper. This isn't gonna get that bald stubble look. We're not looking for that. If the clipper lever was all the way closed, then we would get that, really stubble look. But right now that lever is all the way open. It's basically like slightly under a half, close to a 1, somewhere in between both. That's why I like this. Definitely a good length. So we'll just work this guideline around. I'll pull that ear, try to get behind that ear nice and easy. Felt like something was there, so you have to kind of pull that skin. If you see anything there, definitely, be really cautious. It looked like everything was clear, so we continued with the cut. So now it's time to start our next guideline. So I'm just gonna pick out his top really good. The thing with African American hair is you really wanna, pick everything out really good. It seems like it's been a while since my man has had a haircut, so sometimes that hair can get really packed in there. So throughout this haircut, various different times, I'll be picking his hair out. So since we picked everything out, I'm starting with a 4-guard. And you don't really want to jam through their hair. Sometimes I've seen barbers just really try to pull through there. If it's cutting like this, there's like a little nudge you'll feel sometimes. But if it's getting too hard, you want to pull back and then try it again. If it's not going, pull back, try it again. In this case, it seems like, it's kind of going. It's finally getting to where everything's cutting through there. Oh, looks like I need to pull back. There it is. And in this case, it might even be a good idea for me to even pick it back out, It seems like it's still cutting, getting through there. I love this Wahl clipper. Like I said, it's a really strong clipper, really durable. Some clippers cannot handle this job. There's some clippers that would just stop. Some clippers would get too hot. Doing this haircut would really be a hard job for some type of clippers out there. Now, it looks like my man is getting close to the length that he wants. It seems like he wants to try and start working from that length. So now my job here is to basically make the other side as close to this side as possible. So I'm just trying to make everything balanced. So once again, if it seems too hard to comb through and kind of cut through, you want to just pull back like that and then go back into it. Boom, there it is. And then everything starts to go smooth. Boom. So once everything's going smooth, we're definitely getting somewhere. Things are looking better. It's smooth. You never want to yank the client's hair out. If it seems like there's a spot that's, not really going as smooth as you'd like it, grab that afro pick pick that hair out a little bit more. In this case, everything seems to be going pretty well, so we'll just continue to go over this hair as many times as possible just to get everything nice and smooth. And basically what I'm looking for is for everything to really be consistent all the way across the top. It seems like right there might be a tough area. Okay, it looked like we made it. And we're just looking for that same consistency throughout the whole top of his haircut, okay? Now, right now we're gonna use that half guard. I wanna start working right back from the bottom to the top. So I wanna set another guideline from the bottom with that half guard. I'll start with the clipper all the way open. So more than likely, even though it's a half guard, that's closer to a 1 guard in length. So this starts our blend from kind of like that half stubble one look that we started at the bottom. This just creates a slightly darker look than that as we transition to the dark hair on top. So this is the beginning of the fade process where everything starts to really kind of, you know, start fading. Now, once again, anytime you cut any type of hair, you always want to cut north, south, east, and west. Okay, so now it looks like I grabbed that Babylis 2 guard, and I'm going to use that guard all the way open to create my next guideline. And I just want to work that straight up. So you see my strokes right here and kind of when I pull out. Now everyone is going to cut different. This is just the way I chose to cut. This is kind of, you know, these are my natural strokes. Nothing's fast forwarded. So I'll just continue working that 2 guard. Now at this point, I've closed that 2 guard to where it's, you know, it's a real natural 2. So that guard's all the way closed. And then now I grab the 1 guard. So we'll just kind of start fading in where we set that half guard and that 2 guard. We'll just start working right at the line, the guidelines. The dark line that we see, we'll start fading that in. And with this 1 guard, we'll use a combination of opening and closing the clipper. This is really when the fade starts to set in. The higher I get to the top of his hair, I'll open the clipper. The lower I get to the bottom, I'll close that clipper to get a really natural 1. A real natural 1 in length, that is. Now with the clipper open, it's something like a 1.5. Now I'm going north, south, east, and west. I'm kind of working at the weight that's right there at that guideline from the 1 to the 2 guard. Combing down often just to make sure there's no hair there, just to make sure everything's nice and smooth. Now you all are actually getting a chance to see my natural strokes, how I naturally cut. I mean, these are literally just haircut vlogs. Thought it was kind of important to kind of show people, and I thought it might be a good idea to educate people on how to cut hair, how to cut different types of hair. I've been blessed to be able to have different types of races, all types of races for my clientele, thank God, and I've been able to achieve and cut different types of haircuts. To the point to where my clients come back, that is. So, you know, no haircut is really perfect out there. But this is just my process on how I achieve this haircut. So now here, basically, I want to work that side into the top. I want to work that mid part where it's kind of dark. It still doesn't really look like it's fading, kind of like I want it to. So I want to pick that hair out. I'm also going to either comb or brush the sides of his hair. That's going to give me a really accurate look at, you know, what's really going on here. So right now I'm taking that 2 guard and I'm shaping his haircut up. This client likes where the back of his haircut rolls into the back, not like a Fresh Prince flat top or a Kid and Play flat top. He actually wants this part where I'm at now to roll into the back. So I take that 2 guard and I'll roll it in just a little bit. Now when I get to the side of his head with that 2-guard, I'll just go straight up. The only part that I'll roll in is really on that back end.
ThunderCatzent Entertainment.
And I'll repeat the same steps on the right-hand side. I'll literally take that 2-guard and go straight up like I did on the left-hand side. So the back is really where I'm using this 2-guard to customize that slope that you see in the back here. I mean, you can customize that slope to be whatever you want. There's no, certain slope for the back written in stone. This is just what I choose to do. It's my art. So I'll continue to brush that hair down, take that 2-guard, work that area, go over it a lot of times just to make sure everything's nice and even. Eventually I'll grab that 1.5 guard and then I'll go down in my steps. I'll take that 1.5 guard and go a little lower. So right now, I want to clean this hair up and this haircut up a little bit. So basically what I'm doing is just taking that guard off. Now this comes with a really steady hand, years of experience for some, but there's no guard here. I'm using my comb for a clipper over comb technique. So sometimes I'll use the comb, sometimes I'll use the straight clipper and chisel this haircut out, just really fine tune it to the way that I like it, something that I think that he would like as well, and something that's just really clean. Once again, there's no guard here. I just have a really steady hand. I'm trying to get any prickly hairs, anything that just sticks up that might take away from the haircut. My main objective is just to make everything even. So even on this side, I'm just taking little prickly hairs. You can't really see them on camera, but they're there. So I'm just getting those little hairs that I see and just making the haircut as flawless as I possibly can. That's gonna be different to everyone. We'll just work that out. Now I'm gonna use the half guard. This half guard is the Wahl half guard. I like this one because it's a really smooth, good blending guard. So I'll work that a little lower where we use the initial open wall clipper when we set our first guideline. I'll just basically use this half guard in that zone. Transitioning that 0, that half guard length, basically into that 1. So I'm staying in that same region there. Anywhere that I see weight, I want to kind of erase that. Clean up the haircut as much as possible. Another good technique for cleaning up African American hair is to go down. Just the same stroke that you see me using now. Just go down. But I usually I save this technique for pretty much close to the end of the haircut. This is just a really good technique for cleaning up and polishing the haircut. Normally I would just go north, south, east, and west when I do the initial fade. But in this case, when I'm doing a polishing, finishing type technique, that's when I'll use that. So once again, I'm back just cleaning and chiseling out the haircut. There's no guard on here. You have to have a really steady hand. Things look like they're coming together a little bit better now. So I just want to start working on the front part of his haircut. Sometimes I'll go straight up, sometimes I'll go straight up and round those edges in. It just all depends on what the client's looking for. Now right here I'm using a Andis trimmer, and it's a cordless clipper. Really love this clipper. This has the T-edger blade on it. Now I have them faced towards the mirror. I just want to make sure that the left is as even as possible with the right. And you don't want to dig into the hairline. You want to go really easy and just let the clipper do the cutting and you do the guiding. Now, mirrors don't lie, so you just want to always use the mirror as a second opinion. Always want to get a good second opinion, and definitely, the mirror is your friend in the barbershop as a barber. So basically, once I do this side, I just want to repeat these steps on the other side. Once again, we're just trying to keep everything even. Right, I'm just trying to connect the same line, just connecting the dots. Start from the same line that I did from the other side, just bring it straight across. Just trying to keep everything as symmetrical as possible. Keep everything nice and even. Definitely don't want to go too hard into the lineup when you're lining them up. It's definitely a myth. You don't have to dig into the skin just to get a crispy lineup. So here I like to put a curve into his lineup. Since there's still hair on his fade, technically, even though it's light on the bottom, if this is basically like a shadow fade, there's still technically hair there to line up, so I like to line that up. Right now, these are just finishing touches that I just want to add to the cut. I'm gonna go over the lineup really soft. Unbelievably soft. I mean, some of the best barbers have really light touches. All right, it's starting to look better, so I want to start cleaning the haircut up. Right now I'm using the cordless Andis Master Clipper, barber favorite. Been in barbershops for years, so I'm using that. It's a go-to. I'm using the one guard. I'm using that north, south, east, and west. Another favorite technique is to go down, just working at it. And I'll use a combination once again of opening and closing the clipper. The closer I am to the bottom, the more the clipper's closed. The higher I am to the top, where I am now, the more that clipper's open. And this is the one guard. And I'm just polishing everything up, just basically buffing out the fade. The more you cut, if you hear little hairs clipping and trimming, the clipper's doing its job. Once you stop hearing the clipper cutting as much, it's pretty safe to go on to the next guard. In this case, since I'm fading down, I'll go to my zero guard, or even just a open master clipper. So now we're using that zero guard. We're just bumping a little lower than we've just used that one guard. So now we're just going over our steps, making sure all the dark areas that we could see are as smooth as possible. So now here, I'll just go with the regular Andis clipper. Okay, I'll open that clipper all the way up so that we can still get that one. And actually, it looks like I went right back to the Wahl senior clipper using the one guard. So we'll just keep working, those dark areas. I opened the clipper on the bottom since I used a Wahl open clipper here. This is where I initially set my first guideline. We just want that to blend in nice and smooth. So right now I have the Wahl clipper. I'm just going back to what I initially set the guideline with. This just makes it easier to make the blend better. I know I already used this clipper to set the guideline. I know I can go back and achieve that same look even though I'm cutting hair that I didn't cut until now. So all that blends right into the hair that I had, the guideline that I had previously set, because it is what it is. It was an open Wahl, it's an open Wahl, everything blends right together. So basically here I'm just cleaning up around the ears, doing the polishing work, pulling that ear back. Definitely a huge safety precaution. You don't want to cut that ear. Really easy to do, so be really careful when you're cutting around those ears. Pull that ear back, don't want to rip the ear, but definitely pull it back and protect it from those blades. Okay, so we're just going over the fade. You've seen we basically went over everything as, a few times. So now we're back to the lineup. I did a lineup on the left. I did the curve on the left. That's all I'm basically doing now, is doing the same thing on the right. So right here, I'm basically doing his lineup. You may not be able to see it as clear because this is kind of considered a half or a stubble fade or even a shadow fade, whatever you call it. But there's still enough hair there to line this client up. This is the way that he likes it. So we'll line him up. You should still be able to kind of see that hard line possibly in there. I'll do the same thing on both sides just to keep everything nice and even. You want to keep everything really clean. Whatever you do on the left, you do on the right and vice versa. Now, you can basically do one of two things when it comes to the back. You can taper them out, which is basically it fades from, no hair to hair. In this case, that's what we're going to do. Some clients choose to square it off to where you'll just create, basically a square look in the back, or they'll round it off to where it's just round in the back. So those are the options that you have. You really don't have a whole bunch of options. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Okay, so once again, I'll just go over my work. Just make sure there's no survivors. Just try to make everything as clean as possible. Real nice and easy on the lineup. I like to kind of use this curve right here, this type of technique. Just insinuates the haircut, makes everything pop, look that much cleaner.
ThunderCatzent Entertainment.
Right, so here I'm using that 1.5 guard, wall guard. I'm just cleaning up the side, the same area that I used the 1 guard and the 2 guard. I'm using the medium, pretty much the medium, the middle part of that. So wherever I use that 2, which is basically on this side, I use that 1, which was a little lower. I want to use that 1.5 right in between those zones. So this 1.5 guard is basically taking off a lot of the weight that the 1 guard and the 1 open guard or the 2 guard closed could not take off. So that's why that 1.5 guard is really the perfect call to, do its job and get in that in-between zone to fade that hair off. And here I'm just using a open wall clipper with a 1 guard on there. This is a clipper over comb technique. This kind of smooths the cut out a little better. I like to comb the hair out. Anything that sticks over, I'll just, cut that right off. And then for my finishing clipper, especially around the ears, I like to use the Andis Masters, whether it's the cordless or the corded clipper. The blade is just really smooth. Probably my safest blade as far as comfortability, as far as, not cutting people. They did a really good job designing this blade. Really smooth blade. That's why, this is a classic clipper. Really smooth cut. Just does a fine job. So we're getting closer to the end of this haircut. We're just dialing it in. I just want to kind of customize the cut, give my client the mirror, see if there's anything that he wants me to do, go down a little bit more, take a little bit more off any area. That's basically what we're doing now. So he wanted a little bit more off. So I basically gave him the mirror, took a little bit of hair off the top. There is a 1.5 guard on just to kind of protect from creating a bald spot. One day in the barbershop, I did definitely create a bald spot at the top, right where I was just at with the clipper, right in that region. And to kind of get away from that and not have to be subject to that error, you definitely want to use a guard. And I like to use the 1.5 guard if his hair is this thick. If his hair is lower, like let's say wavelength or 1.5 on top, then I would probably use a smaller guard. But this case, I think it gives me enough to be able to take the hair off the top and still not create a bald spot at the same time. And then so here we're just really fine tuning everything. We're just using those shears, getting in there, shaping up the top of the hair, just trying to add those finishing touches. If you see any of those little prickly or stickly hairs, you just kind of want to get rid of that. All right, full 360 degrees for you. All right, so this is pretty much, another vlog cut. Thanks for watching. This pretty much wraps it up for today. My man looks like he's good to go. He's back on point, ready to get back out there. Now, I'll see a few little things that I like to do, such as in this case, you could really want to spend all day with the client trying to touch and dial up anything. I mean, it happens. But at the end of the day, you have to let the client go. If the work is good to you, it's good to the client, then we're good. All right, cool. So it looks like everything's coming together here. Thank you all for watching another vlog haircut. I'll definitely be dropping more haircuts often to show you different types of haircuts out there. This is the before. We're back to where he is now, the after, just hitting him with the aftershave. I like to call it the hot sauce. It keeps everything clean. And this basically wraps up another hair vlog video. Thank you all so much for watching, tuning in. Till next time. Now, if you learned something, don't be a hater now. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be dropping more content often. And you'll be able to see different hairstyles, different hair types, different hair textures. I mean, the goods. And we are out.
ThunderCatzent Entertainment.